So I may have to ask you to kind of sit down with me for a moment and talk about something that has been investing a lot of people in their minds and what they think about pain and life's choice in it. Pain is definitely necessary in life. In fact, it can make people feel like they're in power, especially with pain. But I believe that no one should ever say it's okay to feel pain without reason, or to say that what they've been turned into is it for them, and that they can never change back. Some people change back slowly, while others much quicker and demand a quick response. I'm kind of for both of those in this topic. What exactly can people do to change themselves for the better? And why does pain have something to do with it? Well, it comes down to who abused you, what made you feel like you had to listen to them anyways. Was it because it made you angry and you agreed with what it is that they said? And how come it carries on to someone else from a whole different world or perspective? And why it's important that it's not to say that you're weak, but that what people have called weak is because of their own insecurities. People are not actually taught the right things nowadays, so it's very important to listen that pain is not something to like or love, especially from a perspective where it comes out to hurt people. It'd be different if you were a bad person and negative and you had reasons for that, in which case you would be able to exact what revenge or what reason you have for doing what you have done. But whenever it doesn't fit the system of what good or bad is, and that there's many different kinds of things deflecting, reflecting, it makes it like a huge maze of mirrors. What is right and what is wrong? But here's one big one. And it's the scariest one because if someone on top can influence enough people that pain is more than necessary, it should be the priority to make others feel in certain ways than and the majority that would agree, not even halfway, because eventually you'll figure out that if you're halfway, then you're completely entire way. And let's just say, because eventually you'd agree that, hey, this is too much for even someone like me, and that this needs to be put to a stop. But that the main topic is to share with you that pain can only help you return. Whenever something breaks in you, your heart or your soul or your connection with someone or your trust in someone, and you can't quite figure out why it is you're feeling hurt and negative, it's not a bad sign whenever you're able to feel that, but it tells you something about what comes naturally to you, what comes naturally to you, and what doesn't come naturally to you. That this is the whole pain to redeem yourself quality, that you can in fact rebuild with pain, but not by putting mud over it, pain being the mud. It's not a war zone that you need to make with yourself or other people, or to patch things up, or to cauterize it with fire. Because all those things, let's just say, is only figurative in this process. It's not quite literal. That people can, in fact, understand that whenever you're in relationships or you're in something, you need to be kind of like a detective. What is it that you're recognizing? How is it making you feel down? Is it minority or is it minority? Majority, sorry. Minority. I don't know. Did I just say minority in two different ways? And honestly, you have to kind of balance with it. That's why it's called justice. But also, you can also call this judgment too if you want. Seeing as how that some things are like double-edged swords, but here's the thing about double-edged swords. It's been described to be one end facing the enemy and the other end facing you. But if you really think about it, a double-edged sword could also mean two swings towards someone. But a sword doesn't have to represent a threat. It could represent safety, and it could also tell people where you draw the line. And that's all that you need to do. As far as changing yourself and reverting back to who and what you were, as it's not always easy, and honestly, to make it easier on you, you must first find what is pleasant to you. Everyone has safety, and seatbelts are kind of like that. So whenever you find that you're stressed, if you distract yourself with something that feels good, I get that video games are a big reference to this. But I must say that that's only because people only know video games as far as what percentage is involved. However, the other alternative, and it's not to say to go out and touch grass, but to say to find a way to find pleasantness in life. Like for me, I went out and I was working at a restaurant, finding a sink with soapy water in it, but it was just water. Let's just say it's just water, right? It was nice and hot and it was warm, and I was kind of stressed. Instead of venting out my stress, what I did was that I put my hands into that water, and it felt really nice. And it's one of my most pleasant memories, especially most recently. So if you're one of those people that like to think about back in the day and feel like, you're stuck there, whenever you create new memories, it tends to lighten up the past. Good memories. Whenever it's intentional, it's like putting a sword down and drawing the line. And you just have to hold it there. And it's not the threat. Some people say that sometimes a sword is better than a shield because of what it represents. The ability to maintain peace, mind, and spirit. Faith is also part of a biblical sense too, but knowledge is also key too. If you don't know, then you'll never grow in some ways. But knowing that I've just taught you something, I created a way and a safety net for you to understand that when you feel really down and stressed, you can use very easy ways to negate and protect yourself against it. You can find ways to find pleasantness, not to avoid as in the way or means of avoiding pain. As far as American culture calls it, you're just avoiding pain and you're just playing video games just to feel better. Those video games are actually a safety net, It really is. And that's what I'm doing right here for you. If it's not video games that help you, then it's got to be something. It could be looking at the lake or water or river, or finding finding out that clouds and beautiful skies are in fact beautiful. But what happens after that is miraculous because I myself found this safety net due to a small lookup to just breathe and think about something else whenever you're going through anxiety, trauma, and feelings of extreme stress, to just simply breathe and think about something else. And whenever you use these things as safety nets, you'll realize that it's not after you. The pain is not after you. It's just letting you know how to build yourself back up, but not that to continue unsafe and bad habits, but by telling you that something went wrong. Something terribly went wrong. And these pains and thresholds, maybe it's a split personality, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's even something like schizophrenia. It helps you understand that you don't have to go through this and be in pain, because pain isn't what you search for in life. It's got to be pleasure, and the kind that comes from relaxing, putting your hands in a nice soapy sink that's nice and hot, finding simple ways to feel good, even for just a minute. If you do it for at least 1 minute or even less, 30 seconds works. I recommend 1 minute just for good therapy, and most importantly, negate anything that would tell you otherwise. Such as advice that says, "Oh, cold water, yeah, that's more manly." David Hoffman, and that stuff is good and great. There's lots of things that say, "Oh, you're ready for this. You're a man. You're able to push forward." However, it's not to doubt those things. Completely embrace them if you can, if you want to. But meanwhile, there's a lot of other people that are on the fence about it, and it makes it more hard for people to accept that they are broken and that they can't do the exercises that say that they're ready for it, or listen to tutorials that say that, because something came up way earlier on in life, or something caught up to you. And whenever you go and start interacting with pain again, not as a form of, "Oh no, here it comes again," you'll realize that whenever you still remember these things that are cozy to you in the present, the past will start to be able to behave a lot better. You'll be able to notify yourself that things are better now, and that you found a way to relieve your stress. And it's the goal that all past wants, is to catch up to the present, that the you in the past that you can remember is broken down and doesn't know why it's even happening or occurring, will genuinely feel safe around you, especially whenever you are doing your best to be fair. I may make another video on it if people can help me out a bit and show maybe a bit of support, maybe comments down. I'm not sure. Like, if I'm all alone talking about this, that I may be in the long haul, but it's about what is important or why something is important, and that's simply because of a lack of warmth. And whenever you find that warmth and you remain warm despite the trauma, pain, suffering, mental illness, you name it. You never blame yourself, and you always feel better in the end.